You're watching and listening to Conscious Evolution Media, shifting global consciousness at consciousevolutionmedia.com.
Are you in the entertainment industry? If you answered yes and you want to promote yourself, your passion, and profession, check out Creative Independent Artist magazines at CIAartists.com, endorsed by Kids Talk Foundation worldwide. Today's podcast is brought to you by Kids Talk Foundation, a global nonprofit organization providing youth advocacy, television programming, and training services in the United States, along with comprehensive medical and educational services for the developing world, most recently in Kenya, Africa, where Kids Talk Foundation provides a feeding program, medical care, and educational services to over 1,300 young people each day. Please help our youth and place your donation. Go to www.kidstalk.org.
Welcome to the Mind, Body, and Soul Show on Real Coaching Radio Network. How would you like to attempt to demystify with us the realms of the mind, body, and soul to bring you a more holistic and balanced way of living? Healthier in all realms of the psyche, the spirit, and the body. Here is your host and executive producer, Coach Steve Toth.
Welcome everybody to the Mind, Body, and Soul Show on Real Coaching, well, actually now, Conscious Evolution Media. It will take me a little while to get used to the name change after 9 years. Bear with me. It is my pleasure to introduce, and of course everybody on the network already knows who I am, Coach Steve Toth, the founder of Conscious Evolution Media. And our guests today are Janelle Alex, PhD in psychology, and also Rob Alex, her partner. I think in more ways than one. Welcome to the show, Janelle.
Hello, thank you.
And Rob.
Thank you very much for having us, Steve.
Yeah, and they're joining us from our backyard.
Yes, we are.
I can see them from my front windows. It's great. It's great to have you. So if I take away any of the titles that you have ever been called in your life until now, who would you be?
Wow, take away any of the titles, and who would we be? Probably just a very compassionate and in the sense, I would have to say actually a light worker, which kind of is a title, but but it's about opening others to their soul and being able to get that deep connection with others, especially with their partners.
Yeah.
And for me, anyway.
Well, for me, if you strip away everything, all the titles, all the things, I think I would just be love. I would just be passion and love.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I interview a lot of people. I must tell you, love hasn't come up so far. And that's actually what our network. That's what our network is all about. Our network is basically completely aligned with who you guys are, because it's about teaching people how to connect to themselves, and how to experience, give and receive love. And if you noticed, I took the liberty with our new name and logo, since the earth has been flat before and it has been round. I thought it was time to change its shape. What do you think?
I love it.
Yeah.
No pun intended, but I really do.
I think it expresses what we all want our world to be.
Yes, absolutely. Well, give us a little summary, each of you, if you would, to our viewers. Just bring us up to date on what you've been up to. How did you get here to today?
Wow.
The short version, please.
Yeah, as short as possible. I taught dance for 20-some years and knew that there was something that I was missing. And so I finished my education, all of my graduate degrees and so forth in psychology. And while I was studying transpersonal psychology, I came across an article about transcendental sex, and I passed it along to Rob, which led him to a spiritual awakening.
Right. And my path kind of was different. I grew up in a small Indiana town where it was like you got married and then your life was over. And I always knew there was something more to that. And so I started Sexy Challenges as a way of trying to help couples, have a full life together, just, the dating part of it. And once Janelle handed me that article, things really opened up and changed for me. And instead of them being more physical and more, straightforward, they became more metaphysical. And I reached out, and I wanted to bring all these different aspects that I was learning into these Sexy Challenges.
Well, and so it really did not only expand his consciousness as well as mine, and then that consciousness as a couple, kind of that third entity that is us.
Yes.
And then being able to share that with others out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Where did you go to school, Janelle?
I studied, it's now Sophia University in Palo Alto, California. It was in the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology for years. So.
Well, amazing. Yeah. All right, so let's explain a couple of things to our viewers, beginning with spirituality. There's so many different interpretations of what spirituality is. What's yours?
I love these tough questions. They're so deep. They're powerful. It's profound. I'm trying not to be on a soapbox because I could talk about it forever. But our spirituality is really that consciousness of the soul. And because the soul is consciousness, everything has consciousness. And we are spiritual beings that are currently in human form, is my view. And so even though a lot of people don't think they're spiritual, I believe we're all spiritual. We're just not all fully aware of it.
Well, for me, I'm a little more, she's the scholarly one of the two of us, but I'm a little more, to me, spirituality means taking what works for you and using it to bring light and love into your life. I mean, as we so often teach, is we like to take bits and pieces of all kinds of things and add them into our own spirituality to create our own. And I think that's what everybody needs to do, is to find what works for them and create that spirituality that's unique to them.
Well, because we're both very strong on the point that spirituality is not the same as religion.
Right.
It's two totally different things. So.
Yeah, so the only thing I'd like to add to that is I actually had somebody ask me that specific question yesterday, and because she was confused about what it is really, because we talk about it so much on the network. We also do a cable television show here in town called The Living Consciously TV on Channel 56. So this comes up lots. So my explanation was, it is really beyond. I believe that religion is part of the journey for all of us. Somehow we are all touched, one way or another. Even if somebody becomes an atheist, they're not born that way. That's something, a decision or a choice that they make later in life. But I think we all touched by religion, and I feel that spirituality comes after we have graduated out of religion for whatever reason.
Nice.
And that's when we begin to understand that the answers to all of our questions are within ourselves. Because until that point, we all look outside of ourselves for the answers.
Could we add to that? Because
Yes.
when you say that, I think of our youngest, which he's 5.5, and he sees lights and different things at times and beings and so forth, and so very powerful little kiddo. And so I'm looking at him, and he hasn't had religion in his life directly yet. So is there kind of a wave to it? Because he's kind of, I would say, maybe somewhat within his spirituality.
Well, wait.
Hasn't
Yes,
been as
yeah,
affected by
yes.
religion yet?
Wait. Yes, he has. because he's a part of you, and you have.
Well, okay.
Right. Yeah, I can see that because the way religion has affected us and what it's led us to, whether, like you said, whether we believe, we don't believe, we do put some of that onto him. Yes.
Well, true. Just even unconsciously.
Even if it's the choice not to put a religion in front of him.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's interesting.
Right on. All right. So the other curious thing that I want to explore is what is a spiritual awakening? Let's start with Rob.
well, for me, and any term we use, you can take it off several different directions. But for me, what my spiritual awakening was after she had given me this article on transcendental sex, I started paying attention to our sexual activities and even to at what happened at the point of orgasm. And what I found out was that I'd start getting visions at the point of orgasm. A scene would pop into my head, a picture would pop into my head, and it could be the strangest thing in the world. Well, the first one after we had this event, or after she gave me this article, was a picture of trees. Big, tall, majestic trees, like I was laying on the floor in the forest looking up. And to make a long story short, I ventured to California to meet up with Janelle while she was doing some of her schoolwork, and she took me to the Redwood Basin Forest. And as we stepped out into that section of trees, and I looked up, and I realized I was witnessing the exact image that I'd seen that very first image at the point of orgasm once I started paying attention. And it was like somebody cut me open and all my emotions just flew out. I was crying. I mean, there was no reason for me to be crying, but they were just tears of joy. And I knew right then that there was a bigger calling for me in this world. And that's how these sexy challenges evolved, because I knew then at that point that I had a message to spread, and that we have a message to spread.
All right, fantastic. All right, so this is for Janelle, and it's about connecting with the soul. You help a lot of people do that. How do you do it? How do you do it yourself?
Well,
how do you teach
how
others?
do I do it myself? I've always I started off when I was young. Oh gosh, I don't know. Probably the first time that I actually remember would have been in my early teens, when I recognized that I was having prophetic dreams. The dreams where you have that dream and then that almost exact event occurs within the next few days or so, whether directly related to my life or something else. And I've always had those, and I continue to have those. And then for me, as I said a few moments ago, I know I danced from the time I was 3 years old on until I retired just a few years ago. But dance, because the energy moves through the body, and it's beyond my human capacity, or the human language. There's no capacity of human language, is what I want to say, that I can express what it does and how it connects me to something that's so much deeper, and it's just transpersonal. It's so far beyond our human understanding. It's that like you were talking about, joy tears. You're just so filled with joy at that point. And so one of the things that I like to help people understand is to find out what it is that they are so drawn to, what connects them so deeply to that inner joy, that inner sense of balance, that inner peace, and even just feeling grounded. So there's a ton of ways to do that. And movement certainly might not be it, or especially not dance. I have a very close friend, and he can't stand it. So, his is actually just a couple of hours of meditation a day, which I couldn't sit still for that long. So there's very different methods, and helping people figure out what it is for them. And not to speak for Rob, but I think that our love life, our sex life, is one of the ways for him.
Right.
So, and for us as a couple in that sense too, obviously. So.
Lucky Rob.
Yay.
Most men, are just having sex. Rob is having something more than that.
Yes,
I can
yes,
tell.
It is
Yes.
true. I mean, it has changed my whole perspective on things. And I will tell you right on camera here that I was the original doubting Thomas. You know, when she would tell me things that she'd experienced and everything, I was like, yeah, that's nice. You know, I had to be, be hold it in my hand, and until this happened for me. And now it's like I have this quest for knowledge, and it's not even for knowledge, it's a quest for questions. Is the way I like to put it, because I want to find, because I don't think there's any direct answers. It just leads me to more questions, and I love it.
Yeah. So how do you know, this is for either one of you, how do you know when you're connected to yourself, when you're connected to love, you're connected to your magnificent, I call it, new self? How do you know when you're connected, and how do you know when you're not?
For me, well, when some of those things come through, because I'm very connected with my spirit guides, and able to connect other people, because we have a guide as a couple, for that matter, that came through to me originally, and now I've been able to connect other couples to guides for them, and I can tell a difference, and I don't know if there's a really good way to explain it, but I can tell a difference when that information just kind of comes through. Sometimes it is like this big warm hug. It's like that energetic hug. You can feel it around me, or, it's just like your whole aura just like lights up or it warms up. It's just a different energy. And so when I'm not connected and I get too wrapped up in the business aspect of our work, and I'm like too worried about the website or editing his writings or my writings, then it feels heavy, and it feels it's not as a happy, it's not as a joyful feeling.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say. For me, it's when I'm connected, everything seems to flow very easily. Problems seem to work out. Things just seem to fall in your lap. And when I'm not, it's like that's when I have the struggles where I can't come up with an idea, or I have a problem that I can't find a solution to. For me, that's how I know I'm connected. Things just flow easier, because that my opinion, that energy is just flowing right through me, and I'm just I'm not holding on to it. I'm just directing it onward.
Right. Well, gosh, two things popped in my head. One, when I'm writing, if I'm trying to do it, then you get that writer's block, you get stuck. But if I let go and connect, then it flows through. I guess you could perhaps even say I channel it through, because I don't feel like it's naturally coming from me then. And on top of that, like Rob was saying, when things are flowing, that's when all those synchronicities and all the serendipitous events, that's when they all occur, because you're open and you're connected and you're aware.
Right. So this is a relationship related question. Do you guys activate each other?
We activate each other.
I would say to an extent. I mean, I think we can. We are obviously individuals. It's not like we have to have each other to exist, or to go forward, or to create. But I think
I saw that look. You're gonna have to clean this up afterwards, or on the show, whichever you prefer.
I do think that we spark each other. I think that we obviously have a lot of passion between us, and a lot of love, and a lot of intimacy too. And another piece of that comes together is our friendship that we have. And I think we egg each other on. If I throw something out there, we have lengthy and great conversations at night, and we don't agree on stuff, and that's the beauty of it. We won't have arguments, but we'll have like these debates, and they're so wonderful, because I get her perspective, and I get to give her my perspective, and at the end, it's like, well, neither one of us is right or wrong, and we just both learn from that.
Yeah, it gives us that chance to view it from somebody, and that's one of the toughest things to do. That human ego likes to get in the way, and trying to say, okay, wait, I feel really passionate about this, and I'm just convinced that this is the way it is, but I want to see it from your perspective, or your perspective, or someone else's, and that's a tough thing to do, but we have both learned how to do that over the last few years, and that is a big thing that we like to share with others.
yeah, you got to the magic word. You said it, the ego, because really, when we're not connected, who we are being is our egos, and it's who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about sexy challenges, because somehow you guys got attracted to each other, and I guess a lot of the energy that you've been attracted to each other with has been sexuality. Now, for me, and in my experience in this country, sex is such a taboo. I mean, everybody, you know, kind of talks about it, but nobody really tells the truth, is how I feel. It's everywhere. Sex is everywhere in the U.S., but the bottom line, when it gets real, everybody's running fast.
Well, I think one of the big things is we're taught it as sex, as an activity, as a biological function, you know, instead of being taught how to make love. You know, we're not taught that there's a beauty and there's a passion behind this. The way we're shown as kids, it's a biological. This happens, you have a baby. And a lot of times in the movies and everything, it's just, you know, you're going to do this, and the girl or the guy's just going to be all over you. But they don't express that passion and that love that comes into it, and the friendship, even in our case, that really makes it much bigger than just the physical act.
Well, and I think what you pointed out, though, Steve, is because it is such a taboo subject, and we know that firsthand, being from central Indiana in a small town. We lost some friends and different ones because they couldn't handle us opening up and sharing our experience, but yet, you know, they shut off from us before they even would give it a chance to realize that this is about love. It's not some pornographic nonsense that we don't agree with.
Right.
And, you know, our biggest the core of where we come from has to really do with that committed relationship. So it's not about just, you know, whoever, wherever. It's about that person that you love, and it's about making more love, you know, within your relationship. And when you do that with your partner, then that beautiful light that's going to shine even brighter within you, it starts shining out farther. You know, it's the butterfly effect. It starts going out farther and farther and farther to your children, to your family, to your friends, to the cashier at the grocery store.
Wow. Okay, so we are being featured on Block TV. I thought I might tell you that, which means that our show is on the front page, and a lot of people are watching it, so let's make it worthwhile. So what's the difference between just sex and actually being connected with each other, actually being connected to ourselves, and making love, and making it, and going beyond just having sex?
Well,
Talk about the beyond, because everybody knows what sex is and what it feels like. Go beyond that, please.
I think the big thing you need to realize is with sex, we're often so taught that we look at it as goal-oriented. We have to orgasm. We have to, you know, we have to reach this point. We have to please our mate. And like what we try to do, we try to relax and let that flow.
I wouldn't always relax.
For men, it's 2 minutes and under.
But, you know, we let the passion. Each one of our lovemaking sessions is totally different from the other. I mean, sometimes we'll be really passionate and we're ripping each other's clothes off and things like that. And then the next time it's going to be soft and sweet. It just depends on the moment, the time, and the way we feel. And
it's about honoring each other
right.
as well. And it's not just about honoring the physical body, but it's about opening the heart and honoring that love that we are sharing, and honoring each other, and honoring each other's souls and each other's spirits. So it's about mindfulness as well, which is kind of another big topic. But
yeah, you know, it's such a wonderful experience when you get release that need to, okay, I got a climax, and then we're done. You know, there's a lot that goes into lovemaking. I like to say, you know, lovemaking starts when you get up in the morning and that first kiss goodbye, that call at lunchtime, even to, holding each other and honoring each other afterwards are very important parts to this that, a lot of people just, it's just do the deed, get done, get cleaned up, go to bed.
Wow. All right, so do you have, I'm sure since you're doing this Sexy Challenges thing, and just explain it again what it is, but can you give us some tips as how people can go beyond their comfort zone when it comes to their sexual activities, and especially connecting mind and heart while they're making sex or making love?
First and foremost, the simplest way to put it is little tiny steps. Take it, just get a little bit outside your comfort zone, and because then guess what, your comfort zone is going to get a little bigger, and then you move a little bit. So, and it's just easing into it. You can't just jump up and run before you've even learned how to crawl. So.
Right. And I think finding that balance too, because you're dealing with two people, most cases. So you have to find out what their comfort zone is, and and you have to accommodate that, because your comfort zone might be way out there compared to somebody else's, and you can't expect them just to jump over to where you're at. So you have to feel that out and go, okay, well, you don't want to try this. Well, maybe we can compromise and move that in that direction.
And not just that automatic refusal of no, we're not going there. It's like, okay, wait a minute, I don't know why, I'm just uncomfortable, or maybe I do know why, and this is why I'm uncomfortable with it. So guess what? It comes back to communication. But it's not just communication with your partner.
Yeah. You've
got to be honest and truthful with yourself and be willing to go there. Right. And that, for a lot of, probably more of us than pretty much all of us, is a really scary place to go in the beginning, because it is opening your heart and it is getting connected to yourself, to your soul. Because I'm just adamant, you really need to do that to fully be able to open with your partner. I mean, it can be done kind of in correlation or in relation. I mean, that's part of it, because that's the relationship is a spiritual path. But at the same time, you have to learn to get in touch with you to be able to understand better and support better and honor each other.
Yeah.
So what does all this has to do with trust and feeling safe?
It has everything to do with that. I mean, because the power of vulnerability is a huge topic. I love that topic because it's so important. You have to learn how to be vulnerable.
Well, yeah, you're not going to be able to let go or to push those boundaries, as we mentioned before, if you're not with somebody you trust and that there's not the love there. It's kind of scary if that's not there for anybody.
Would you guys believe that the show is over?
At
least the first half hour. It feels like we just got started.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about your contact information and your website?
Sexychallenges.com. Pretty simple. So that's the easiest way. All of our stuff is on there. And of course, the individual Sexy Challenges are, because there's over 70 of the individual ones available at this point, they are available for e-readers and digital devices on iTunes and Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And then, of course, on Amazon, the first 50 Sexy Challenges are in a book and a compilation of those, so you can get it in a print version as well. Yep. But again, I mean, if you just go to sexychallenges.com, the links for all that is on there again, or on there. So.
Correct.
Awesome. All right, I really enjoyed both of you. It was really easy to be with you, even with a challenging subject for most Americans.
Yeah, you're all right.
I think I've been to a lot of the same courses you have. I've done a few Tantra weekends. Okay. You've been fantastic, and I hope that you return to the network, and thank you very much for being on Conscious Evolution Media. Nobody go anywhere, because we're going to have our second segment guest coming in, Deborah St. Hilaire, and we're going to be talking to her about some very interesting subjects about life coaching and business coaching. So we will be right back. Just give us a couple of minutes. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Janelle. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
watching and listening to Conscious Evolution Media, shifting global consciousness at consciousevolutionmedia.com.
Welcome everybody back to the Mind, Body, and Soul Show on Conscious Evolution Media, to our second segment. And it's my pleasure to introduce Deb St. Hilaire. And she's joining us from Michigan. Hilaire?
Mm-hmm.
Now you just get a taste of my Hungarian. All right, so she's joining us from Michigan, and she's a life coach and a personal and business coach. And we are actually featured, Deb, on Block TV, on one of our network that we syndicate our shows. We have lots of people in the chat room and lots of people watching us on the front page. So let's talk about what you do, which is you are a life coach and you do personal and business coaching, correct?
Yes.
And something that's really excited me about what you're up to is that you do something in regards to shifting today's feminine paradigm. And I have my own experience with the feminine paradigm, and I'd like to share that with you, and then you share yours with us. So my experience is that we've been doing this network for the 9th year now, and I have a lot of hosts and guests come to the network wanting to do what you do, which is empower women. And I almost see it, because of what I do, I see it as a movement. I'm not sure that the general public sees it as a movement, but I see women getting together and supporting each other and bringing the best out of each other and making each other more powerful. I don't see the men doing that. I don't know where that leaves them. It's your turn. It
leaves them in the good old boy network. That's where it leaves them. That's what that good old boy network was all about. Promoting each other, helping each other out, giving each other referrals. They go hunting, fishing together, and they leave us at home.
So this is the women's version.
Yes. And I also wrote a book called Devolution. And that's exactly the movement that I'm trying to start, is the devolution. And what my dream, what my mission is to get women to come together and help each other. There are so many older women that were at the top of their profession that are forced into early retirement, and they're at home, and many of them have their families far away. So they're at home, and they garden, and they cook, and they clean, and there's 2 doors down a young woman struggling with children that she can't pick up in time. She's missing all their baseball games and soccer games. And what I dream is those 2 people to come together. That's a win-win situation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anytime we can bring anybody closer to themselves or to each other, we just created a miracle, as far as I can tell.
Yes. And also in the workplace, my dream is to have women help each other in the workplace and nurture each other instead of being antagonistic and backstabbing and gossiping. Those are all things that need to go away.
I'm glad that you're mentioning that. Those are I call truths that many people don't want to speak. What is it about when you bring a group of women together, and probably within 15 minutes or less, all the backstabbing, the jealousy, all the other stuff starts happening? What's that about?
I don't know, because I've never been like that. But I know that I've been aware of it for my entire adult life. And even when I went to an all-girls Catholic high school, and it was even there. I mean, I just think it's the way that we're brought up. We hear our mothers doing that. My mother never did it, and so I never did it. It's mean. We need to not be. Why? Who does it hurt? You know, it doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't help anybody. It's just mean. I don't like it.
I can tell. Do you watch the American Idol?
Yes, I do.
Oh, did you watch last night?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so there's an example between two women that are on this show, which is a very successful show, and both of these women are very successful themselves. What's that's going on? How could you explain it from your experience?
Well, I think that they have a definite personality clash, and they would probably never be brought together except in this situation. And did American Idol do that on purpose? Maybe. It adds some drama.
It's yeah, the producers know what people want and what they watch and what makes this show successful. They're just two entirely different genres, and they're entirely different people that would never have the opportunity to be together like that had they had the choice. And I think they're playing it up too. Okay. So I'd like to, just for the fun of it, I like to describe it a different way, from my own experience. So when this occurs, what I'm noticing, this is just for the benefit of the viewers. I know you already know all this. So what occurs for me is both of these people, like last night on the show, and this happens with people all day, all night, all over the world.
Yeah.
They are completely disconnected from themselves. They absolutely not in control. Who's in control is their egos. Their egos speaking to the other person's egos, and they basically having a reaction and a reaction to the other reaction, and it spirals down to the point where they could kill each other, or one of them has to leave the room.
Or possibly both. Yes, that's very true.
And this is an example of what human beings are capable of, and we are all capable of this. This is not just those two.
That's true.
And if we don't know how to manage ourselves and how to manage our egos, how to, I experienced those two last night, 2 5-year-olds in an adult body.
That's a very good way to put it, yes. Arguing over a toy.
And this happens in corporate America daily, by the minute.
Well, those people obviously need life coaches so they can get a harness on their ego.
Yes, so
it's sad. It's sad.
I'm glad. Yes, it is. Yes, it is sad, but it's reality. So I'm glad that you connected the dots. So how would you help these people?
Well,
as a life coach,
a tough one. That would be a hard cookie to crunch. I think that they would have to really come down to earth and take a deep look inside themselves and just become a better person. But you know what? I don't know that those two specific people are bad people. I think that they may just bring out the worst in each other. And we've all had somebody in our lives that has caused us to be toxic. I'm sure that you've met people that bring out the worst in you.
I'm glad that you're pointing that out, but that's an indication for me that there is something within myself that I need to heal. It's not about them.
That's true. Yes, good point. It would take a lot of talking to get down to the bottom of why they're like that, or if it is just because that person is toxic. And there are people, I know that I was in a relationship once, and I'm a good person, but this person just absolutely brought out a side of me that I never even saw before. I never even knew was there, and that's the only person in my whole life that has brought out that side of me. Now, I don't think that was me, and I think that's probably the case of a lot of good people, that they just need to take themselves out of certain situations and away from people that bring that out in them, if they're basically good, strong people. If they're not, then they need to look within and discover what makes them bitter. That's my favorite thing to say. Don't be bitter. There's too many bitter people.
Well, Deborah, have you noticed when, let's say you, in the summertime, you have a great time outside, and you hurt your lower part of your leg, maybe you cut it, and you go back in the house, and the first thing that will happen is that you hit it in the kitchen table, and then you turn around and say, "That damn table."
Who put that there?
Who the heck put that table there?
Yes,
but you see, that's what we do.
Yes, we do blame other people. We do blame other people. But
why?
Because we're afraid. We're afraid to tear everything down and get to the bottom of us, our cores.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
I think
it's easier to just blame somebody.
Yes.
Or it's easier just to run.
Yes.
Let's just run away from this person, and hopefully I never come across somebody like that again. But guess what?
Yeah.
Wherever we go, there we are.
Yes, unfortunately. Yes.
I just had a really good friend of mine today get on the plane and run back to Florida, and I think he's going to stay there. I suspect he's going to stay there because nothing is working for him here. And I wanted to say this to him, but I decided not to, because I just want to wish him the best. But I wanted to say to him, it doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah.
Because you take you with you.
That's right.
You go.
You can't get away. That's very true.
There is no escape.
I can't. I'm everywhere I go. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very true. I think fewer and fewer people are running away from themselves. I see a shift in consciousness. Don't you see a shift in consciousness?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I wouldn't be doing what I do if I didn't see any changes, didn't see any hope. I would hang it up.
Yes.
But I've been doing this for 9 years, and I see the difference it's making, and I get feedback, and I'm noticing people's interest. Not only people that I don't know, but even family. I'm noticing family members are starting to pay attention. They're going, oh, maybe he's not crazy after all.
I wonder when my family's going to start saying that. Hopefully,
whenever they have gone through enough stuff where they actually motivated to do something different than what they've been doing. See, I'm finding that it's a lot of it is about comfort zones. Human beings are very lazy.
Yes.
Very lazy. What do I call us?
Creatures of habit.
Creatures, yes, creatures of habit. We're very lazy. We don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to go outside of our comfort zone. If you have to go outside of our comfort zone, fear comes up. If fear comes up, oh boy, what are we going to do now?
Yes. I belong to a blog, a coaching blog, and the first of the year, one of the gentlemen put on the blog, do something that scares you every day.
Absolutely. I live by it. I do something every day that yesterday I wasn't willing to do.
Right. and it changes you, doesn't it? It doesn't change it.
Yes, it expands me. Yes. It's like one of the other things I live by, Deb, is I'm just willing to look. Whatever it is, I'm willing to look. You have something to say, I'm willing to listen. I'm not saying I'm going to take everything you say and immediately implement it, right. But I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to take from it what's in it for me.
Right, and that's how it should be. The problem is not enough people open themselves to enough input to ever pick the right thing for them. They blindly go in one direction because that's the direction everybody's going in.
Because they already know it all. Yes. And when does it start? Doesn't it start, Deb, when we're teenagers? That's when.
I think it even starts earlier than that.
Maybe at age 12 or something, somewhere around there. When we're ready to go beyond the understanding and the belief that our parents are God and they do no wrong. Whenever that happens, when we give that up, then all of a sudden, you know everything.
Loose.
Yeah.
It did in
and nobody can tell us anything because we already know.
That's right. And then as you get older, you find out, maybe they were right after all. Maybe
these old people have some wisdom. Isn't it interesting that there are certain areas of the world where old people are cherished,
yes,
and loved, and protected?
Yes.
Not in this country. What happened to us here?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm so fortunate because I came from a very loving family, and my grandpa and grandma lived with my aunts and uncle. And I always thought all families were like that. How naive was that? And now, you know what? When I'm getting old, I don't know where I'm going to live. I don't think my children are going to take care of me. So it changes generationally. It's getting worse.
Yeah, I have a good example. I've been in this country since 1974, and this is something I have never seen. That doesn't mean that it doesn't happen or it, it's just for me, I have never witnessed it. When I was a teenager, I grew up in Europe, and this is one of the things that we used to do. In addition to opening doors for people, when we saw an old lady or an old man at a light, we actually went over. We were taught this way: hold their arm and help them get across the street. I have never seen that here. Have you?
Yes. I have seen that.
I'm glad.
Yes, and not often. And isn't that the way it should be?
Yes. That's out of respect. You are dealing with someone who has, this person that you're helping, they have been through most of their life. They are winding down. just out of respect for the wisdom that they have and how precious they are. It's almost like I'm not experiencing this yet because I'm not old enough yet, but I think I've seen it in other relatives of mine. When we get old, we become kids again.
Yes. Yes, that's very true. And you lose some inhibitions that you have in middle age. Older people, elderly people will laugh like they did when they were children, and I love that. They regain that innocence that's lost from working and daily drudgery. Yes, it's beautiful. And their eyes twinkle again. It's beautiful.
And when I go see babies, I'm just about to have my 6th grandchild.
Oh, congratulations.
In about a couple of weeks. Thanks. But every time I see it... Pardon me?
We just had our 7th.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
So every time I see a baby, I go crazy. I go nuts. And I feel that there should be no difference between a baby and an old person. It should be the same excitement for them. This one just born, and this one is about to leave us. Mm-hmm. Let's get excited for them.
That's really a good way of putting it. Perhaps we should start having wakes before the people die, because those are usually very fun events.
Yeah, after that they are passed, they won't know what the hell is happening and how much we love them. It's too late for them.
Yeah, and that brings up opens up a whole nother can of worms, because that's why every day the people that you love should know that how much you love them. And that I just am so sure that that's the right thing for everybody to do, to make sure that the people that you love know that you love them.
Yes. Yeah, at the end of our times, I don't think there is anything that becomes more important than that.
No, there isn't.
All of a sudden, all of our possessions have zero value just before we move on. The only thing that matters is, who's around our bed.
Yeah. Yeah, and you could be having a horrible day, and if one of your children called and said, "Hey, Dad, I just called to tell you I love you," how much better would your day be?
And vice versa.
Yes,
absolutely.
Both of you win from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you help? The show is almost over. How do you help businesses? I'm assuming that you're working with people that own small businesses. How do you help them as a life coach?
Well, I go in and take a look at what they're doing, how they're working, make sure that they're spending the right amount of time there, that they're not making their family suffer because of their business. We try to incorporate some family time into the business usually, because people like to see their family at the business. And it's different with everybody. Different people need different things. A lot of times it's just a matter of teaching them how to let go of a couple of their... when you first start a business, you have to do everything. Once it's going, you can start delegating. And that's a big part of it, is teaching them what they can delegate, so that they can have a life.
There are a lot of workaholics in this country.
Oh, yes. Yes.
You have unlimited number of potential clients.
That's very true. That won't run dry, will it?
No, there's plenty fish. All right, so since we're going to be winding the show down, I'd like you to give any contact information or your website or anything that you would like to say that I haven't touched on. We still have a few more minutes to do that.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Deb St. I'm the author of a book called Devolution, The Evolution and Revolution of the Diva. Please read that. You can get it on Amazon. And my website is sky'sthelimitOnline.net. Thank you.
Awesome. So, since we still have 3 more minutes, actually, this broadcast, I'm going to suggest, respectfully, that it's being transmitted and being received by all 7 billion people on this planet. Not all of them translate it and receive it, but it's going there. It's going into the antennas. And if that's the case, what would you like to say to them?
I would like to say to open up your heart and soul and look around you and see if anybody needs help, and be yourself and love yourself and laugh every single day.
Fantastic.
And dance. Gotta dance. And have a glass of red wine. Gotta have a glass of red wine.
Oh yes, absolutely. And to help with all of that, I'm gonna write a subscription today. Not that I'm a doctor, but the subscription is get a large mirror. You know those mirrors that are about 5 feet or 5.5 feet, about 2 feet wide? They're really cheap. They're not that expensive. Get one of those. Put it wherever you want to put it, where you feel comfortable and you feel, you feel safe. And take all your clothes off and stay in front of the mirror for 2 hours and see what comes up. 2 hours and see what comes up.
It's cold here in Michigan, buddy.
and well, be in a warm room and see how often can you say in the mirror, "I love you."
I actually have that written on my mirror, my dressing room mirror. I love myself. I have to remind me.
Yeah, I find that people get very confronted when they have to look at, most people get ready in the morning for work or whatever they do. It looks like they are looking in the mirror, but they really don't.
Right. Yep,
they avoid it. They avoid the eye contact at all costs.
Yep, that's right. And you have to stop doing that. Yep.
Yeah. All right. I thought, why not have a little fun, huh?
My grandfather and grandmother were from Hungary, and your accent is very like theirs.
Uh-oh.
That's
Thank
a good
you.
thing.
Yeah. People tell me I'm from New York, but sometimes it does come through. Not a problem. I like my accent. Makes me different.
It's a very good one, yes.
Yeah. All right, Deb, thank you so much. You've been awesome. I had a lot of fun with you.
Thank you.
I think we covered some good ground, and hopefully you'll be back on the Conscious Evolution Media Network soon.
Good. I would love to.
Have a great day. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, ciao.
Everybody else? Yeah, goodbye. Everybody else, don't go anywhere. We have our next show coming up in about 5 minutes on Open Gift Show by James McPartland. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Just going to put on some music.